My overall, and I say this, my overall happiness, and I'm going to tell you straight up, is the relationship I have with my man. And the reason why things are aligned and I'm having and I'm happy and I'm having a good relation is because we are at a place in our relationship that we have learned how to communicate with each other. We've learned to set boundaries, believe it or not, like Mark and I, seriously. Oh, hell yeah, we do. Oh, hell yeah, we do. And we learn to communicate that with each other, and we learn to, have respect and all that kind of good stuff. And that's what we're teaching in this course. But to have all that, right? You have to start with you, mamas. Like, seriously. You gotta have that with you. You have to be able to show up. Because let me say something, you guys. Having a really awesome relationship is truly the best. Really. Ultimately, right? Like ultimately, doing life with someone that gets you, that that you have a flow. And again, I've said this, it's not, and I'm not saying that we're gonna be everything's perfect. No. But when you have these things set in place and you're aware of yourself and you're aware of your boundaries and you really understand communication and understand men in a way that you're like, oh, okay, they're their own individual human beings too. Huh. Okay. So if I learn how to communicate, talk to him. Huh. What can happen here? What can happen here? Because that's what can happen. And when we are attracting our men, we're like lit. It's not stress. It's not like, oh, it's just like, it's like a peace. It's like a peace out there. It's like you throw out peace and you're like, okay, I'm doing this work. I want him to come in. And when he starts coming in and you start feeling a different energy and you start being able to really bring in a man in your life and start having some different conversations, this really shifts things. Like really shifts things. And the one thing is to shift it is first, be aware of yourself, be aware. Always be aware of who you are and what you want and what you don't want. Like honestly, know who you are as a woman. And when you decide to go on and start communicating, let's talk about communicating. Let's talk about communicating with a man, okay? And before we even, like I said, go into the communicating, is there something that I can open up the lines or I don't have to necessarily, but listen to me. Is there something that is coming up for you immediately that you're like, ooh, you're right, I didn't have a boundary here? Is there something right now? Does anybody want to speak? And if you don't, I'll keep going. Okay. When we don't have the boundaries, that's when we feel that we actually don't really know how to communicate it. You know why we don't communicate it? Because we get afraid. We get afraid, you guys. We get afraid of like, I don't want to hurt his feelings. Well, I don't want to be like, I don't want to do that. And we start not realizing that actually communicating with a man is one of the best skills you'll ever have. I'm telling you right now. Learning this, you're gonna be like,
Charlene,
yes,
Charlene.
yes.
So I'd like to just ask you a question. I
Yes.
think that in that area of communication, that's kind of difficult. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine, and we're kind of both in the same boat, where we see things sometimes when we're going through a relationship where we feel uncomfortable, we want to say something, but we don't say it. And so, can you address that?
Yeah. I'm going to address that. So when we are, so let me make sure this is what you said to me so I can address this. You're saying to me that often you've noticed that when you've been in relationships, something will come up and you don't address it, and then you get resentment and frustrated and it just spirals, right? Okay.